Canada. On October 8th, the government of Canada expanded the list of family members that they may travel to Canada and visit permanent residents or Canadian citizens. And those people are called extended family members. With the extended family members, we are referring to people such as brothers and sisters, half siblings or step siblings, grandparents, and also half grandparents. We also refer to grandchildren. And if you have been exclusively in relationship with somebody, or in other words, in a conjugal relationship with somebody for at least 1 year, and within the past 12 months, you met each other at least once, then you can ask for that person to come to Canada. However, you need to request an exemption. So there is a difference between extended family members and the immediate family members. For extended family members, you have to ask for an extension. And when you ask for the extension, then they may travel to Canada if the exemption is, sorry, not extension, for exemption. The exemption may be issued, and then they may travel to Canada. Keep that in mind, that if they do not hold a temporary resident visa or an ETA, depending on their nationality, then obviously they need to apply for an ETA or TRV as well. The government has created a special route for people to be able to apply for a TRV or ETA if they already don't hold it, now to make sure that they do not encounter delays. This does not mean that they are guaranteed to be issued TRV or ETA, but IRCC will try to process those applications quicker than normal. This is the latest about the travel restrictions. The other issue that you may need to know is about international students. And right now, when you register to a program in Canada, to a designated learning institution, whether it's a university or college, you normally have the option to study online. So you register to that program. You may start studying online and you apply for a study permit. The government will review your application as quickly as possible. If they are satisfied that you qualify for a study permit, even if you have not submitted all the documents, for example, you have not gone through medical examination or you have not done your biometrics, they will issue a stage 1 study permit. Stage 1 means that you are allowed to study online. And then when you submit the rest of your documents, and of course the schools are open, then they may issue the full study permit, which allows you to travel to Canada and study in Canada. However, when you are studying online at a designated learning institution, the number of days that you are studying is counted towards your PGWP. What is PGWP? When you finish your studies at a university or college, which is a designated learning institution in Canada, then what happens is that when you finish your studies, for the duration of your studies, assuming the duration is at least 1 year, for the duration of your studies, for a maximum of 3 years, you will receive an open work permit. Open work permit means you can work for any employer in Canada. That work permit gives you the opportunity to work professionally in Canada, gain Canadian experience, and get qualified for Canadian experience class. In the past, before COVID-19, your studies only qualified for postgraduate work permit if you had applied for a full-time program in Canada, and when you came to Canada, at least 50% of your studies were in person. However, the government changed this policy during COVID-19, and even if you're studying fully online, you still qualify for postgraduate work permit, which is an amazing opportunity for international students. The government is also working with designated learning institutions in Canada, and some of those learning institutions, they are trying to make their campus, let's call it COVID friendly. COVID friendly means that when you refer to that campus, they have a plan in place to deal with coronavirus. For example, the number of students who attend each classroom. There are plexiglasses all over the classrooms to make sure people are not in contact with each other. Everybody needs to wear masks, and of course, sanitizers and cleaning material are available to everybody. In those situations, then you will be able, starting from October 20th, if you hold a study permit to one of those schools, then you may travel to Canada and start studying in that school in person. The government is going to publish that list literally today. So we don't have the list of the schools yet, but as soon as I find out about the list of schools, I will publish that list on settler.ca or our website. It is settler, and you can visit that list and find out if you can come to Canada and continue your studies, assuming that you're holding a valid study permit to one of those schools. So there is a question coming here. Visitors come to Canada now. Unfortunately, the borders are still closed. You can come to Canada as a visitor only if one of these things are happening. You are visiting a close family member who is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada. The other question, the other group, Godwin, is those people who are visiting extended family members, but that extended family member is still a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. But for visiting your extended family members, you need to get a permission from the government of Canada. The other reason is that you are coming to Canada because of a serious humanitarian issue. For example, a death of a family member, you need to attend the funeral, or somebody has a terminal illness and you want to visit them because of that terminal illness, those kinds of situations. So there are very limited options for visitors to visit Canada. The other question that came in, but keep in mind, I have a list on settler.ca and some videos about those restrictions. You can also go on IRCC website to see if you qualify to visit Canada as a visitor. There is a very exceptional situation as well. If visiting Canada is in the best interest of the Canadian nation, then you can also apply for an exemption. For example, some celebrities who are coming to Canada or some special envoys who are coming to Canada for the purpose of medical issues, etc., then they need to make a request to the Minister of Immigration or Minister of Public Safety or Minister of Health. And even if one of those three ministers issue the permission, you may travel to Canada. So I did biometrics on March 18th for work permit Cook, but still now no get update. Yeah, unfortunately, the process, and that's a very good question, Vinath. Thank you for asking that. Unfortunately, the many of the visa offices outside Canada, they are working, let's say, less than half time. So their staff are not complete. There are not all the staffs available. And that's why the processing time is extended. Unfortunately, not many applications are being processed. Having said that, you can actually go on IRCC web form and follow up on your application. Okay, so and they usually answer your question. So what you need to do is that if you have submitted your application, you did your biometrics on March, then what you need to do is that go on IRCC web form. So I type this here in the chat box for you. So IRCC web form. And I have a video about IRCC web form. You can also watch that video. It explains to you how you can submit the application. You will do that, and then they will review your request. And sometimes if you give them enough reason why they need to expedite your application, they will expedite your application. So can visit Canada for Christmas holiday. Unfortunately, we don't have a specific day when they will open the applications, Godwin. Um, but at least what we know is that up until November 21st, 2020, the Canadian borders between Canada and the United States remain closed, and it is very likely that we see a similar situation in terms of other countries. So no, unfortunately, there is no guarantee for that time. Okay, there is another question here. Rupesh asks, hello, good morning. I would like to explore route through Rocks and Road since I'm 45-year-old and a CELPIP score 6.5, awaiting my ECA. Can you guide? I'm not quite sure what you mean by Roxham Road. So could you expand what you mean by that? But if you are looking for express entry, oh, the United States. Oh, so you want to cross the border? Is this what I'm hearing? Okay, that's an interesting question. Okay, so obviously I cannot I cannot comment on anything that is irregular and not accepted. But generally speaking, if somebody is crossing the border irregularly, because if you're coming through the United States to Canada and you show up at a port of entry, then and file for refugee, unfortunately, the immigration authorities will not allow you to enter Canada because they say the United States is a safe country, so they will return you back to the United States, and also because of travel restrictions anyways. But if you irregularly enter Canada without going through the port of entry, then they will apprehend you and they will question you, but you are allowed to file for refugee, if that's the question you're asking. However, you will receive a removal order from Canada because you entered Canada without proper authorization. And if your refugee application falls apart, then you will be removed from Canada. If that's the question, that's the answer. So what is the possible way to go to Canada with family without express entry from Bangladesh? Thank you very much, Maru, for asking that question. Basically, thank you, Rupesh. I'll be happy to offer you advice. So, Maruf, in terms of your question, there are different ways to immigrate to Canada. Obviously, if you do not qualify for express entry, then one obvious option would be through investment in Canada or entrepreneurship. Many provinces of Canada, they have entrepreneur programs or programs for people who want to create jobs for Canadians. If you have enough money to invest in Canada, then you could immigrate to Canada through those programs. For example, British Columbia has that, Saskatchewan has that. Unfortunately, Alberta does not offer that. We have options through Manitoba, Ontario. And for those of you who are not familiar with these provinces, Ontario is where I live, and Toronto, the largest city in Canada, is located in Ontario. I live in Toronto. Ottawa, the center of, or the capital of Canada, is located in Ontario. And with British Columbia, I'm referring to the city of Vancouver and Victoria. Saskatchewan, like Saskatoon and Regina, Manitoba, Winnipeg, and even Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, they offer those. But unfortunately, you need to invest. And the minimum investment depends on, thanks for asking that question, the minimum investment depends on your province of target. So, for example, in British Columbia and Ontario, the minimum investment is $200,000. That's the very minimum investment. In Manitoba, for example, the minimum investment is $150,000. And I can't recall if there is any province that is less than $150,000. I'm talking about $150,000 for in Canadian dollars. So if we convert it to the US dollars, it's about 110 to 120,000 US dollars of investment in Canada. And this is the bare minimum. Obviously, you need to show that you have been either a senior manager or a successful business owner, and then you need to show a few other things. Most of these programs, they also expect you to know English, but it's not as heavy as Express Entry. Usually we're talking about knowing English about IELTS 4 or IELTS 5 for most of these programs. Now, keep that in mind. And of course, I have other videos about Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program and also articles about that. You can visit our website, settler.ca, and find those all articles. I just type it in the chat box. You can visit settler.ca and read those articles for more information and more details about each of those programs. And actually, if I just give me a second, let me open my articles here, and I can probably, I don't know if it allows me to, yeah, I think it allows me. So if you believe that you can be an investor in Canada, you can fill out this calculator. It will tell you whether you qualify or not. Okay, so the next question, Skystar says, I can't send documents to Canada Embassy, which they ask from me anytime I try to send them by email, which they give me, but email comes back to me. I'm terribly sorry to hear that, Skystar. So one way that you can do it, you can upload the documents through IRCC web form. So just look up IRCC web form. I just posted here. I have an article about IRCC, sorry, web form, not V form. IRCC web form. Yeah, just look it up. I have an article about how to use IRCC web form. And I can actually, now that I have access to the links, I can probably show you the article. Yes. Oh, I have a video. So when we are done with this chat, you can actually go and watch this video, or you can watch it right now. And in that video, I tell you how you can upload your document. It's so easy. The only problem is that the maximum size of your document could be 3.5 megabytes. So your document needs to be either PDF or JPEG or PNG, and the size of your documents need to be less than 3.5 megabytes. If your documents are very large, there are some services online that you can reduce the size of the document before uploading. One service is called I Love PDF. It's a very good service. It just for free reduces the size of your PDF file, and you can upload it. So the next one is from Breck. So it says, I want to know if someone of your client got updates about the sponsorship spouse. Yes, actually, I had a couple of updates for some of my clients that applied inside Canada from the office in Mississauga. And then I had one client from Ankara that received an update. From the office in Delhi, I had some communications from a spousal sponsorship about 3 months ago, but then suddenly stopped. So New Delhi is not very active right now. And I could say probably the most active outside Canada visa office right now is the visa office in Singapore with those visa offices that I'm working with. With the rest of them, they are not that active. Even with Ankara, they send me a couple of messages. We replied back and nothing. So unfortunately, it's not yet fully active. Now, they said that they are going to increase the number of officers who work on these spousal sponsorship by 66%. And they are going to process 6,000 applications per month within the next 3 months. So hopefully we will see some movements, but keep that in mind. This is not good enough, because by the end of this year, even if they process those 18,000 applications they promised, we will end up with roughly 49,000 applications that they were processed this year. But if we compare it to last year they processed 67,000 just spousal applications. So this means that unfortunately, many of the spousal applications will be transferred to next year, and they will process next year. So don't give yourself high hopes. There will be some movements, and comparing to other methods of immigration, this is a good sign. But unfortunately, it's not good enough for us to say, yay, so I'm cautiously monitoring the situation. Okay, so can I HV an appointment after HV done with your session? Yeah, you can just you know what? If you want to book an appointment with me, I actually will send you the link here. So okay, here you go. Just to let you know, I don't offer free advice, but if you are interested, you can click that link. If you have any questions here and I can answer them, by all means, I will answer them. Otherwise, so my plan is that starting from today was just more of a test session. And thank you very much for your great questions. I'm honored that I see people are coming and asking questions. Thank you very much. But what I'm going to do starting from tomorrow, my plan is to go live on YouTube pretty much every day. And right after this, Rupesh, unfortunately, I will go live on TikTok. So no, I won't be. And then I have another an appointment right at 10 o'clock our time. So in 20 minutes. So I go live on TikTok for about 15 minutes. And then I have a client that I need to attend to. But I will come back tomorrow. So my plan is to be live on YouTube almost every weekday around 9 a.m. Toronto time. Now calculate what will be your time. So thank you very much again. I wish you the best and see you tomorrow. Bye now.